Hey, this is Kim Rhodes, and you are listening to the Superior Comic Show.
Welcome to the Superior Comic Show, your weekly Irish pop culture podcast. I'm your host, Peter, reminding you that getting involved with two brothers can sometimes lead to a lot of hijinks. Our guest today will talk about that. Ladies and gentlemen, you might know her as Carrie Martin, you might know her as Sheriff Jody Mills, but to the rest of the world, it's the badass Kim Rhodes. Welcome to the show.
Hi, Peter, and yeah, brothers in general, just blonde brothers. It's my sweet spot, and it always leads to mayhem.
It's crazy that the two shows I remember you most from involved two brothers getting themselves into all kinds of trouble. I'll start off by asking that just a quick random question. I remember in one of the episodes of Supernatural, you told Sam and Dean to not make you use your mom voice.
Yes.
Was that kind of did you take inspiration from Sweet Life from that?
I did. And here's the funny thing. It was Jared, and it was kind of early on in our working together. And I said, don't make me use my mom voice as kind of like a little Easter egg to Sweet Life. And when he came back downstairs, I asked the director if I could actually use my mom voice, because that's not a threat that you use idly. And so it was not in the script that I would say, all right, young man. And the first time I did it, because it was my coverage, so Jared could go, I went, young man. And he went, oh my God, you do have a mom voice. Like he totally, everything in him, and went, I'm sorry.
I could just imagine Jared, just this big tall moose, as he's called, just quivering.
It is the only thing I've ever found that just stopped him in his tracks. Everything else, he totally is like, oh, bring it. I will meet. He's like one of those lovely actors that will meet you wherever you are. He is not like he asks you to bring to the stage. And Jensen's the same way. They both are just like, come on, bring it. And I love that. That is the only thing that he ever was like, whoa, too much.
Well, he might have probably been mama's boy then when he was growing up, if that caught him off guard.
Well, I also think it was before he had kids. I think now that he has kids, he probably has that immunity to.
He probably has his own dad voice now.
Yeah, he's got his dad voice where he's like, yes, indeed, we can bring it.
Speaking of moms and dads, my first exposure to yourself was through Sweet Life of Zack and Cody. And the funny thing is, I was still watching Sweet Life in and around, kind of old episodes in and around when Jody Mills came into Supernatural. And I didn't make that connection at first. It wasn't.
Oh, that's awesome!
I was like, I recognize this face, but I don't know who it is. And it was a good 4 or 5 weeks after that introduction of Jody that my little sister was watching an old episode of Sweet Life. And I seen you in it. But the funny thing was, my instant reaction wasn't, that's where I know her from. My instant reaction was, there's Jody Mills.
It's very funny because there was a long time in between the two things. And so when I came in, I had, as like my first appearance of Jody, I had hair and I'd had a baby and like a whole bunch of life had happened. But because of the way they pulled the episodes of Sweet Life out and continued to show it and show it and show it, and then Supernatural had such a long run and would weave in and out, there was actual crossover for some audiences where they were like, what happened? Who gave her a gun? What's going on?
What really would have been interesting would have been a Supernatural Sweet Life crossover.
Oh, you know what? I remember, I think Cole, I think I'm remembering this correctly. Cole said at an interview for Riverdale, they said, is there any other show that you would like to cross over with? And he said he wanted to be on Supernatural. And I thought that would be just so much fun if Jughead went to Carrie on Supernatural and they both were like, do I know you? You seem okay, never mind. And then just go on about their business. So there isn't a big deal made of it. Yeah. But I thought it would have been funny if Jughead and Carrie crossed over.
That would have been brilliant. And Cole kind of went the same route as yourself after Sweet Life into a kind of this dark kind of show, and
Yep.
he is killing it.
Well, did you see the movie Dylan did where he was this, I think he was a serial killer, where he was the kid that just like stalks his teacher. It was a psych. I mean, they both always had an edge that I adored. Like, they were never soft marshmallow kids. They were always smart and edgy and funny and aware. So I am not surprised at all that they went away. They got themselves educated. They stepped away and said, if we come back to this industry, we come back on our terms. And indeed they are. So I love watching it.
Your introduction to them when Sweet Life first started off, how was that? Because I remember I recognized the faces of them and I was like, that's the kid from Big Daddy.
Yes. It was awesome. Let's see here. Was it when we were shooting the pilot? So I cuss like a sailor, and it's challenging. And the two of them, I remember I would get like the script supervisor the first. I don't think this was the introduction. I think this was after the pilot was shot. I think it was into the first season. But she literally would shake her finger at me. She had a cuss jar on her thing, and she would shake her finger at me. And finally, she's like, you're working with children. She was very angry at my potty mouth. And one of them goes, we worked with Adam Sandler. I think we can handle the cussing that Kim does. And I was like, these are my boys. They were very staunch advocates for the people that they knew were on set with them. Like, even at a young age, they felt very responsible for people and making sure that we all were heard and valued and able to do our jobs.
And it showed, if they had them feelings towards the cast, it showed even with yourself, the chemistry between you and the both of them was just like, you'd think it was definitely a mother and children relationship.
I loved them so much. Yeah, it was divine.
And the awesome thing as well that is, like, when I was doing my research for the show, that I never thought to look up when I was a kid, was a lot of the singing in the show was your own voice.
It was me. It was this guy. The only time I didn't do the singing was when we did the episode where I was doing opera. I cannot sing opera, but everything else, they wrote the songs in my very narrow range, because like I can sing 3 notes really well. So if you look at the songs, they're usually like the range is about here. They did audition some actual singers to play the role, but I think they decided ultimately they'd prefer to have an actor who could sing as opposed to a singer who could act. Yeah. Because of the material that they were working with. Yeah,
and honestly, you say you only have a small range, but your voice was incredible on it. It was some.
Thank you. Show. They fixed me. They Disney'd me a lot, but yeah, I got to go into a booth and they would help me out. So it was fun.
And then you got to do, you got to put on the actual show as well.
Yeah.
With the so you got to dance around on stage, you got to bring your
it was fun to do it in front of, because we had a live audience, and I'm from theater. Like, I did theater for 10 years before I ever set foot on television, and so having a live audience at the end of the week after you've been rehearsing is the closest thing in television to live theater, and that was wonderful as well. Really getting to interact and to hone your timing and to be present and responsible for the people that I really work for, which are the audience.
Yeah. And let's be honest, in the show, Mr. Tipton must have held you in high regard if you got to live in a hotel, constantly.
I know. That always baffled me. I was like, you're going to tell me there's nobody in Boston who can sing as good as Carrie that lives there? Couldn't just show up and do their job once a night? But that's, I mean, you gotta suspend your disbelief.
Yeah, it's a kid show.
It's a kid show.
Yeah.
I was the same way when they didn't take me on the boat. I was like, okay, here's the thing. a lounge singer does need to live on a cruise
Yes.
ship. Why am I not a part of the spinoff? But, you know, things are as they are.
That was that killed the Sweet Life on Deck for me, if I'm honest, that there was no Carrie on it. It made me not enjoy it as much.
Thank you. I don't take credit for that. I do think, now this is just, I want to preface this by saying this is my not objective opinion. This is my personal, completely colored by my own biases opinion. But their thinking was that kids didn't like to see adults in kids shows. They didn't want to see adults. And what I think happens is that kids know adults make an environment safe.
Yeah.
So if you've got kids that are getting into trouble and doing wacky hijinks, it actually makes it more palatable if you know, but if anything really goes wrong, mom's got them. Mom's going to bail them out. Mom's going to take care of them. And when you take away that element of safety, it's actually less funny because it's legitimately dangerous.
Yeah, 100%. Like I'm 27 this week and I still kind of look for my mom to fix things.
Right? Right? So you can really commit to the audacity of a situation when you know there's a safety net there.
Yeah.
And when they took away the safety net, yes, Phil is brilliant. Yeah. And I'm so grateful that he was there. But again, it's different having an actual parent there to pick them up if they fall down and skin their knees, because you know they're going to need their mommy at some point.
Exactly. Like having an authoritative figure there is different to having a parental figure there.
Yes. But I mean, Disney knows what they're doing, and I'm unemployed and they are an entire channel. So I guess they know what they're doing.
Well, I'm calling for a reboot of The Sweet Life on Deck with just the
Yes. Can you imagine? That would be hilarious. All of us just sitting around being old and crabby.
And you mentioned Phil there. Like Mr. Mosby was huge. He was one of my favorite characters growing up watching The Sweet Life, and it was just because of the one-ups that the twins used to get over him. And it was just your chemistry with him as well. Like he was a little bit afraid of Carrie when it came to it. He had that little bit of fear. Another mama boy, maybe.
Phil was another one of those generous actors who took anything you brought and turned it into magic. Like he was a consummate. There's a thing they talk about in improv where you say yes. You just say yes and then make it more. And Phil was really, really good at that. You haven't seen a lot of him right now because he actually turned into one of the most sought after comedic directors in Los Angeles. So he's behind the camera now. He did direct a few episodes of Sweet Life, and now he's everywhere. He's all over Los Angeles, directing comedies.
I've seen him on Scrubs, and that was the last time I seen anything of him. He had that small part in Scrubs, and then I don't remember seeing him since.
What was his name? He was like Mad Dog. He was what was his name? But yeah, he did that actually before Sweet Life, I think. Did he? Or did he do Sweet Life first?
It possibly could be. I could be getting him mixed up with the order.
I don't know. The timing. But yeah, so now he's directing.
That's incredible. And for someone who in both of the roles I've seen him in was hilarious, it does not surprise me.
Yeah.
So then after Sweet Life, I know you made guest appearances in a few shows. I actually think on my own personal Twitter about 6-7 years ago, I tweeted you because I seen you pop up in an episode of Criminal Minds. And
yes.
Tweeted me back saying I is in all the things.
I is in everything. So let's see here. There was a show called Colony that I did for a little while. It was a very dystopian series that ran for a few years, and they killed me horribly. It was upsetting to film. It was so brutal, and that was fun. Like it's fun to be like to go from something like yay light and fluffy to like even Supernatural is the horror of it is still kind of elevated and comic like, to this just hard to act. It was so awful ending for my character. And then I went over to Criminal Minds Beyond Borders because one of the executive producers of Supernatural, Adam, had gone over to Supernatural Beyond Borders. So they brought me and Jim Beaver over there. And then my character from Beyond Borders went over to Criminal Minds proper for a few episodes and became like one of the all-time most hated characters of the series. Yay me!
That's more of a testament to your acting than anything else.
Well, it was, and also the writing was impeccable. It's a lot of times bad guys are written like they know they're bad guys and they enjoy being bad guys and they enjoy inflicting pain and rah, 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 I'm going to be bad and you can't. And they wrote this consummate ice bitch who just knew she was right. And if you disagree with her, you're obviously wrong and you need to be gotten rid of. And that is where I think that's truly where power and an antagonist comes from. Like, people don't wake up in the morning, real people don't wake up in the morning and go, I'm a bad guy.
Yeah.
Rawr. I mean, unless you're Billie Eilish singing it. And so I got the opportunity to test my theory that bad guys don't think they're bad guys. They think they're right and everyone else is wrong and in their way. So that was Criminal Minds for a while. That was fun.
It shows what you said there. I think it's true. A lot of kind of my main area is Marvel, and you look at their best villains have all thought they were right.
Yes. Yes, my daughter's attached to Marvel, so I am very familiar with the Marvel world and the movies and the comics, and she loves Iron Man, but I do like to get into a little more of the obscure female heroes and yes, that is an excellent example. Like, I don't know if I'm going to go down a hole. Am I allowed to trash any of Marvel at all?
You can trash anything you like.
I feel like in the movie, like in the comics, Ultron clearly thinks he's right. Yeah. Like, he's doing what he needs. Like, there's no, but in the movie, all of a sudden, Ultron was emotional and enjoyed now, first of all, you're a fucking robot. So stop it. Secondly, that's the whole thing is your prime directive is to be of service, and you're going to be of service by eliminating humanity. Why are you enjoying and gloating over your superiority? It just should be obvious. I'm here to help you by killing all of you. Like Samuel Jackson's character in oh God, what was it? The Assassin movie where they taught Eggsy to be, fuck me. Everybody out there in your audience is screaming the answer at me. It had the guy who was in King's Speech. I can't remember anything right now. I've gone completely autistic on you. I've gone, now I'm, now my words are gone. That happens. My train of thought just all of a sudden will hit a wall and everything stops working. Fuck balls. Kingsmen.
Yeah.
What the fuck was I trying to remember that for? Oh, the example of the bad guy who really truly thinks he's doing the world a service. Like, you all have to be destroyed for your own good. That was a very extended dance remix version to get back to the fact that I think the best bad guys have their own validated motivation.
Yeah. It's like last one I mentioned is it's like Thanos in Infinity War.
Yes!
In some points you kind of have to agree with him. It makes
yes!
sense.
Yes! Yeah, when you just wake up one day and you're like, I'm going to be evil today. That's a hard, and there's no challenge to that.
No.
Because you know good is going to win because it's a story.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
It's the best bad guys are more complex.
Yeah, I agree.
And speaking of bad guys, you've killed a fair few bad guys. Moving on now to Supernatural.
Oh, have I actually really? I remember the first time I was supposed to really kill a bad guy. They rewrote it and took it away from me because the episode before the guest star had killed the bad guy, and I was like, but I want to kill a bad guy, and then they kept me around. This was early on in my tenure, and I never knew if I was coming back or not. But then they let me kill a few bad. I got to dagger a goddess in the back, and she blew up. I got to shoot that bitch in the head. Shot her. She was a bad guy. Bad lady. And then, a bunch of vampires.
And
just
there was
vampire after vampire after vampire.
There was that episode, really emotional one, where your son came back as a zombie, and Sam went then.
That was the first time you ever saw me. That was my introduction. Yeah.
Introduction.
That was hard. That was the actual audition scene. That was what they made us audition with, was seeing my son eating my husband's guts, running away, having a conversation, and then going through to my son being shot.
It was incredible. I was actually going to ask you about that, whether it was an audition process or whether they kind of just sought you out. Because in my head, I would have believed that they just came after you and just.
No, there were 6 of us auditioning. It was great. There were 6 of us auditioning, and we were all different flavors and colors and types and ages. So it was, kind of like, we don't really know what we're looking for visually. Yeah. We just know what we're looking for emotionally. And the casting director walked into the room, walked past us as we were all sitting there preparing. And one of the women said, "Are we going to do the whole scene?" Because the scene went all the way through to the end. And at the time, it was written where Sam offers Jody the gun to do it herself. Yeah. Because, it's her kid. So he gives her the dignity of offering her to do it. And they rewrote that ultimately. But I had already decided that that's like, if anyone's going to kill my kid, it has to be me. And I'd gone all the way through it. So she said, "Are we going all the way through the scene?" And he says, "Yeah." And she said, "It's impossible. There's no way you can do this in an audition." And he just went, "It's supernatural," and kept on walking. And that was the moment I knew the role was mine. I was like, "What do you mean you can't do this? You got fucking bitch, figure out who's going to shoot your kid in the head. He's a zombie. Come on."
So listen, you have the experience and the patience, I'm sure, with working with Cole and Dylan. Kids require a lot of patience and a lot of perseverance. So a whole scene to you for an audition, nothing.
Oh yeah, it's mine. Bring it. I get to have any feels I want.
And with Jody as well, like you said, you weren't sure if she was coming back. You were in 16 episodes overall of Supernatural.
Was I really?
Yeah.
Yay me!
To me, it feels like a lot more. I feel like Jody was always there. And my thing was, they killed off Ellen and Joe. They killed off Bobby. They killed off so many characters. My one thing was, if they kill off Jody, I'm rioting.
Jody did indeed get to live till the end. There was obviously the end of the series was affected a lot by the circumstances of the world. I do know that Jody's character was originally supposed to show up and be a part of the resolution. But it was expensive to ship people up to Canada. Like, you got to pay them to live for a couple of weeks. If somebody's can be interchanged, I get why they did it. But I am pleased that Jody survived.
So I think a lot of people feel the same way. But let's talk about, you almost had your own spin-off.
Oh man, the spin-off, we came so close. We came in second place, which is still pretty impressive because the spin-off only happened because of the fans. Like that only happened, and never in the history of ever has anybody made a spinoff because the fans said, this thing we want, this thing we want, this thing right here. And for it to not be picked up was devastating, but it was devastating from the place of Kim that wants to be able to have health insurance. It was devastating from the place of Kim that wanted to be able to buy a house with a backyard so my kid could go outside when I tell her to go the fuck outside. Like it was purely like the nuts and bolts that were devastating. The emotional win was completed in that spinoff. We did it. It's never before have people created their own. Everybody was like, we tulped it into existence. And I think the reasons that it wasn't picked up are not anything that I know for sure. And so the reasons I have chosen to believe are reasons that comfort me and make me feel okay about this industry and how it works and my place in it. But I don't know. It's a lot of stuff. And again, I'm really glad it's not my job to know. So
I'm still mad about it. I'm not going to lie.
Thank you. Thank you.
Awesome episode. It was great to see somebody needing to save Sam and Dean's ass without them providing any sort of help whatsoever. And just seeing all three of you kick ass on the screen, I was on the edge of my seat.
It was a very well cast, well conceived spinoff. The problem, of course, also is that when you create a spinoff that is also an episode of a show that already exists, you can't really devote time and energy to creating the characters of the spinoff and the relationships, because you have to keep the energy of the series you're a part of going. So that may have been a factor in it. I think also there were things that had nothing to do with the show. It was like relationships with other executive producers that they wanted to continue, and relationships with networks and production companies that they wanted to get. I mean, I don't fucking know.
It's a lot of logistics and higher up crap.
Yeah, it's just, I mean, ultimately it is a thing that happened. And I get to choose to be really, really happy and proud that it happened.
And look at the impact it had as well. Fans were signing petitions afterwards to get it reinstated. And
right? And we still have, we still get to joke about it. The energy of it still goes on, and I don't think that's ever going to go away.
You never know. The power of fans. You might be getting a call in the next few years.
I know. Well, the truth is, like, just legally, there is a period of time in which a contract can be, and everybody else has moved on to other things now.
Yeah.
It's not like they could call me up and go, hey, we've got your contract. I mean, they could me because I'm not doing shit. But Catherine Newton has moved on to be a big movie star, and they can't like call her up and go, hey, come back and do this TV show, because same with our writers. The writers are all moving on and producing other things and creating other things. So it's that beautiful. It's like you know what it reminds me of. Are you also an actor? We have these.
I try.
Kind of. Yeah, so there's this phrase that we joke about, but it's true. It's called the showmance. And for those of us who have done summer stock in our youth, you go to summer stock, you find your love, and it is a perfect, beautiful summer romance because you're in a play together. So, of course, all the feelings come out. Everything is real. It's perfect. It's beautiful. At the end of the summer, you tie a bow on it. You go your separate ways. And then maybe 20 years later, you Facebook each other. Like, that's it. It is. And that's what I joke that Wayward was my showmance. It was perfect and beautiful and love, but sadly finite and not meant to be any longer than it was.
And for the brief shooting star it was of an episode, it was incredible that it'll go down as one of the best episodes of Supernatural.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
And with Supernatural coming to an end now, like I'm sure everyone has said that it's like a big family on that show. are you still in contact with all the others from the show?
Well, it is like a family in that there's different, like, it's not like we're all nuclear family. It's not like we've got mom, dad, and we're all siblings.
Yeah.
It's more spread out. So there are definitely people that I mean, obviously Brianna and I are still in contact. Ruth lives so close to me, she can see my living room window from her front porch. So I have been over to Ruth's house. I've talked to, I mean, we're all shut down for Corona right now, the COVID shit.
Yeah.
So I haven't seen, but I talk to Sam Sam Smith, and I very frequently are communicating. Excuse me. I was just texting with Elena the other day. Now, a lot of our relationships are also because of the convention circuit.
Yeah.
So, in the United States, we have Rob Benedict, who plays God. His band travels with us. And so I'm actually in contact with a couple members of the band because of the convention circuit. So I'll talk to them, and that feels like I'm talking to Supernatural Family because of the conventions. So yeah, we are like a family, but not all of us text all of us every day. There's like one big fat group thread that goes every once in a while, blows up and goes away. And then there's, the people that I am very, very close to. And then the people that I enjoy interacting with, but aren't like a daily, oh my God, how are you? Are you okay? What's happening this morning? What did you have for breakfast?
Yeah, no, 100%. Yeah. So almost like cousins rather than siblings is gonna.
Yes. Absolutely.
And you went with the Wayward Sisters, you went kind of and used the Wayward in your own podcasting when you made the Wayward podcast.
We did.
I love, by the way.
Thank you. Yeah, that has also gotten, what happened there, to be quite honest, we didn't mean to quit. It's just I now, once the pandemic hit and my daughter couldn't go to school, I had no time to record or edit. I just don't have, like, right now, I'm any second waiting for her to come busting in through that door and be like, your time is up, Mom. You need to be doing a thing. So it just wasn't, I couldn't make it a priority in a life that suddenly became so fucking difficult. So yeah, we put it on hiatus. We're trying to figure out how to turn it into more of a web podcast. So we could just shoot it. It would somebody else's job to edit it, get it out there. But it's just, as you well know, a lot of fucking work.
Yeah, a lot of very time consuming, especially
promoting. Yeah. So now most of my time is either spent remote schooling with my daughter or at the barn. I work my job now. I mean, because you got to do something. I teach horseback riding because I wasn't able to afford my own lessons anymore because I started riding about 6 years ago. And when all of this, I was like, I'm going to have to start selling jewelry so that I can afford my horseback riding lessons. And they said, well, how about you teach some lessons and we'll let you stay on your horse? And I went, done. So now all of my time is spent at the barn so that I can keep riding.
I think, honestly, my fiance already loves you from being Jody Mills and Carrie Martin, but she's a big horse girl herself. When she hears this, she's gonna ring you looking for you to adopt her now at this stage.
Come on down. It is all of my time is spent at the barn, and I love it because I'm atypical, and I didn't know this about myself. I just recently found out, like at the age of 50, that a lot of what I thought was me not knowing how to people and just being stupid and weird and wrong and over emotional and too bad actually is an atypical. I'm actually just different. I'm just neurodivergent. And what has started happening is that means that my writing style and how I learn is different than a lot of writers. So I have to have information put into my brain in a very specific way. Otherwise it does that thing that you saw it do where it's just like, nope, abort, everything goes, you're all done, have a melt, you're finished, nothing goes in, closed. So I am actually really good at teaching students who have anxiety around information processing and getting their body and their brain to be meshed together. And so I am having a lot of fun teaching because it's teaching me a lot about how my brain works. I don't have all neurodivergent students. I have a mix, but it's fun to be like, oh, I know what's going on with your brain right now. Great. Let's take a little walk lap and talk about, I don't know, clouds.
That's all. I did not know that about you, and that is incredible. And fair play for the teaching. You know, you're passing your experience on to others, which I'm sure they really appreciate and are learning better because of it.
It is funny though. I have total imposter syndrome, and this is apparently very common for teachers to be like, because I've got a couple students that are like, "You're the best teacher ever." I'm like, I just told you to put your heels down and pick your hands up, and I've told you that 18 times, but this time you heard me, and now all of a sudden the horse is doing the thing that you. Okay.
that like what you said there, I struggled. I had a very specific learning type growing up as well because of anxiety and stuff that I was a doer. I kind of needed to put the problem in front of me, let me try it, and I'll figure it out as I go wrong.
That's what I've learned to start doing, is just be like, okay, I'm going to tell you, and now I'm going to shut up and let it sink into your body. Like, especially something like writing, where it's body, brain, cross. And that's where, like, I tried to explain it to my instructor. I said, it's like I have a funnel going into my brain. Now, if you're putting things in the funnel at a speed my body and brain can process at the same time, then we're great. But the second you put too much in and it clogs up the funnel, nothing gets in, my body shoots into anxiety, and I genuinely feel like I'm in danger. Like my body genuinely tells me my life is in jeopardy. And so knowing my own brain now, and knowing that that's just how my brain works, instead of getting mad at myself and being like, because I would go from anxiety to anger. I would bite at the person who was feeding me information, or I would bite at myself for not processing it fast enough. And now I'm starting to settle into just going, what? No, what? We gotta let it filter, and now we're back.
And that, for anyone who's wondering, this, I believe, does have a link, so don't think I'm going completely off the wall here. What's the crack with the crows?
Oh! Okay, so the good news is by the time you send this, you don't need to post a link because it'll be over. So I have too much time on my hands because I'm locked in this apartment when I'm not at a barn. And I am educating my kid. So a lot of her needs are hands-on. She needs to see experience in her life. So she's learning about habitats and creatures and adaptations. I love crows. I've always loved crows. I've written about crows. I have a crow tattooed on my body. Well, I actually have 2 crows tattooed on my body. That's one. And then that's the one she drew. I just fucking I've loved them from the time I was 18 years old and experimenting with different religions, and somebody did a reading for me and told me they were one of my totems, which, God bless well-meaning people in Southern Oregon. That's a whole nother story. But I just love them. And so I decided I wanted to be friends with them. I had some that would make a lot of noise, and ever since I've tried to become friends with them, they've disappeared. Little obstinate fuckers, but I'm still going to try. And then that went on the tails of merch company, which, again, because I'm being completely honest with you and it's going out there, they started up a merch thing because I haven't worked for a year. It is it is what it is. And so she was like, let's sell some merch and make sure that you don't have to eat top ramen every day. Because that's, at this point, we don't, sources of income are non-existent. And I do this thing called Cameo where people can pay to get a video, but that, I feel like, I know there's people who charge hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of dollars. First of all, that's not the level that I operate at. And secondly, it's still more important to me to have a connection with people than it is to profit financially off of that connection. So I'm like, I'm just going to leave it. I'm not going to do that.
Yeah.
So the crows became a t-shirt because they had a really great idea for it. And I love crows. And I could not possibly have made that answer any longer, but I just like talking about crows.
I might make you jealous here, but about a year back, now I'm not sure if it's the same one, but it could be. I'm convinced it is. I was walking to work every morning. There was one crow on the fence outside the apartments that he just used to stare at me as I walked past every single day without fail.
They live for like 15 years. So yes, it's probably the same crow.
I'm not sure whether he liked me or whether he had an issue with me.
Well, from what I understand, if there's an actual issue, people tend to know it. Like they will say no thank you in a very, very clear way. But they're smart, they're self-aware, they understand themselves. Hi, is somebody there?
Yeah, that's the little one's just down from her bath.
Hi, who's so clean? Who's so clean?
She always likes to make herself known.
I support that.
Yeah, she's gonna be a little actress, I'd say.
Oh God, I'm so sorry.
I'm trying to see if I can. Yeah, she's in her nighttime routine of running up and down the hall now.
Fair enough.
So I did see. So the supporting your local murder merchandise, then that ends tomorrow, and I seen you put up a thing that the winner gets a free Zoom call.
Yes.
I feel like I've won already without entering.
Ta-da! Well, it's just I am very I recognize this about myself because it's very unfair. It is very unfair who I notice, who I don't notice, who I want to talk to. It is just fucking unfair. You're right. It's true. But just for some reason, I was like, oh, funny Irish guy. I'm in.
I did not expect that tweet was I was in the kind of mindset of if you don't ask, you don't get. You know what I mean? The worst that can happen is I get ignored or I get said I'll take a chance. She tweeted back at me before years ago, so I'll take a shot. I received the message, and the little one is in bed, and I'm supposed to be all professional here, but I almost screamed like a teenage girl at a Justin Bieber concert. It was just surreal to me. It's also, I enjoy being like sort of, I guess it's like, I would use the word puckish. I enjoy showing up in places where I've been invited, but no one thinks I'm going to be there. I love that. It just amuses me so much to just be like, I remember somebody did a meme about how much Carrie Martin looked like an anime mom, Bakugo's mom. Is that right? I apologize if I'm getting the homework. I think it's a Bakugo mom, and it's true. They side by side, like it was the exact same, the same hair, same outfit. The anime mom had much better breasts than I did, but the whole and somebody tweeted it to me, and I like went into the conversation, was like, "Yep, absolutely. I don't know what this means, but yes." And people were like, "Wait, she's actually here!" I'm like, "Yes, I am." So I like doing that. And it's crazy because, like I said, when I tweeted at you years ago, it made my day then because I didn't expect you to tweet back at me, and then it made my day again years later when I get a message from Kim Rhodes. I was like, "Nah, this is a fake, just trying to take the piss." And then I seen the little check mark. I seen it. I was like, "Oh my god,
Nope, it's her.
Yeah.
She's showing up."
straight to my fiance. I was like, no, you never guess what, you never guess what, you never guess what. And I have not shut up about it since the first message. So like you've made my 2021 already. I don't think
Yay! Yay!
And like you said, you're doing the teaching now with the horse riding, which I'm sure a lot of your students, maybe older siblings or parents, when they see it, no, I would have expected.
You're masked. We are masked. And you know what else is really funny? So I started this by teaching summer camp over the summer, and there was a pool. There was actually a pool among the higher ups in the stable as to how long it would take me for me to rip off my mask and go, do you know who I am, you little shits? Knock this shit off. And I never did. I made it through the entire summer without being like, I don't need to take your shit, because I love it. And there's a few people that know who I am just because they know who I am. Yeah. But for the most part, I've got a mask on. I'm walking around in horse shit. I don't have and it's right at the age where they're in between supernatural and sweet life. And there was I remember I did get a little bit like, ha ha ha, if that person only knew who I was, she'd be so impressed. And then I found out who her dad was, and her dad's, I'm not going to share any information, but let's just say her dad is like 80 billion times more impressive than I am. And I was like, or she might already know who I am and not give a shit because her dad's this person. So never mind. That's right. Stay humble.
So that's the funny thing I find with a lot of interviews you see with famous actors and performers. Their kids don't usually care who they are in the pop culture world or in TV world. Like, how does your daughter find, does she?
My kid, she likes to tell people when we're out that I play Jody Mills on Supernatural because she likes to see their response. She likes people. She really loves it when people are excited. So she'll pull that shit out to other people. She does not care. She does not watch live action shows. She will watch YouTube because it's real. She's autistic. And so she likes YouTube, and she likes cartoons. She likes Marvel cartoons because they make sense that it's not like she's watching something that's not real.
Yeah.
So it either has to be real or clearly not real. But the few times she's seen me be somebody else's mom, she's like, no, you are my mommy. That kid's an asshole. I'm like,
so needless to say, Cole and Dylan won't be coming around anytime soon.
Yeah, no, well, I mean, they're older now. She'd probably just be like, oh, hey, cute boys, come on down.
It's just incredible just hearing from you now and hearing how I imagined you to be just. I thought it would be impossible to get in contact with you in the first place. I just imagined you'd be just way too busy. Look, hold on. Look, here. Hold on.
Look. This is where I'm talking to you from. This is, whoops. Hold on. That unplugged. Hold on. Yeah, this is, my camera was so embarrassed I am in a tiny closet. What is happening here? Preferences. We have switched things. Video. No, you don't want that. You want that. Whoa! Oh my God. What the hell is up with the lighting now? What did you do? That's better. Anyway, yes, so this is the real me. I'm in a closet full of my husband's equipment. We live in an apartment. I've got a bag full of top ramen downstairs. I'm going through all the shit that we can possibly mix it with to make it taste like a new meal. My car is falling apart and I'm afraid to take it into the shop. The bottom carriage is falling out from where I ran over a rock, and it's a 2007 Prius. I I'm scared to take it in because I'm like, you're gonna tell me it costs so much to fix it that I can't fix it, and then I don't know what the fuck I'm gonna do because I'll have to go away knowing that I can't fix my car, and that will cause me. So now I'm just ignoring it. Yeah, I'm not important. I am not fancy. I am not fucking fancy. We don't, yeah, no. So I love the idea of like, I don't know how I'm going to get in touch with her. The only reason people don't get in touch with me is because I have no fucking time and I get frustrated easily.
Well, the first part of your statement there is wrong. You are 100% important to a lot of people. The Supernatural fans is a huge fan base, and every single one of them, I had never heard a bad word said about you.
Oh, they're out there, but bless their hearts. It's go on with their bad self. They can hate me too. As long as it's not because they've actually met me and I was an actual dick to them. Because if I was an actual dick or an asshole to someone, then I owe them an amends and apology. But if they just have decided they hate me, okay, I occupy that space in your brain. Sorry.
Yeah, you're right. There are certain people like that, but like you said, it's just I'll stay over there.
Yeah, and that's in their brains,
yeah.
Right? Like I can't control what goes on in somebody else's brain. My people have a phrase that says, "I'm not in charge of what other people think of me."
Yeah, 100%.
I can't do it. If I have done you wrong, especially unintentionally, like the Supernatural fandom has been very good at expanding my mind at microaggressions, at things I do that are actually hurtful that I didn't even know hurt people, and have helped me look at, I could continue to do them. I could continue to do that, or I could just change. I could just try to be more conscious of what someone's pronouns are.
Yeah.
I should just be more aware of cultural appropriation. I should, like, nobody's telling me I have to. They're just teaching me that it's a way I could move through the world and not hurt people.
Yeah, no, and with the way the world is going, like with everything, that's people are more comfortable in their own skin now, and it's all these pronouns and all the cultural appropriation things are coming out now, and people are finally speaking up, and it is,
yes,
it's a learning curve for people who've been in the industry for so long that these things they thought were okay aren't okay now. It's a learning curve.
And I mean, for me, it's even worse than I thought it was okay. I never thought about it. And so for people to say, hi, could you please think about this thing? Because it's my entire life. Oh, and I'll admit, initially I'm like, but you didn't understand. My intentions were good. And it's like, well, if my intentions are really good, then why don't I respond when people tell me how I could behave in a way that my intentions are received?
Yeah.
So I don't feel like I'm being chastised or being like finger pointed. It's not like that fucking lady telling me not to cuss. It's more like people are going, if your intentions really are good, then here's a way you can behave so that we feel like your intentions are good.
Yeah. I think it's a natural human reaction to instantly go on the defensive because you feel like you're being attacked, even though these are just, they're being calm and they're telling you, this is how I feel. And
or just, even if they are attacking me, it's my job to recognize what they're responding to is years of being injured.
Yeah.
I might have only done it once, but their response is a cumulative effect. So for me to be like, oh, you didn't understand what I meant, as opposed to going, wow, that clearly is really painful for you. Okay, I will listen. I'll try to do better. I can't promise I will be able to do as well as you deserve every single time, but I absolutely promise to do better, because why should, if it's a difference between me changing or someone else being in pain, what the fuck does it cost me to change a little bit?
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
it's fair play to you. Like, not enough people see it like that. Too many people stay on the defensive.
Well, I think a lot of people feel like change means admitting I'm wrong.
Yeah.
And that has not been my experience in life. Like, I have had to change to stay the fuck alive. I have had to change to stay the fuck out of an institution. I have had to change to be able to love my child in a way she deserves.
Yeah.
So change just means I get better at something. Isn't that what we all want to do?
Yeah, it's evolution at the end of the day.
Yes.
In the mind.
Yes. So yeah, that's wow. Thank you for hosting my TED Talk.
I won't keep you for too much longer. I'm sure you've just given homework of someone looking for my attention. You're doing the horse riding teaching now. You have like COVID has shut down everything. Will we see you back on the screen again? Will there be more acting, or is that an experience that you've lived it and now you're happy?
I wished I knew the answer to that. The one of the biggest things I hate about being an actor is that they never give you a pink slip. Your job will always be over, and any job could be your last job. I don't fucking know. I do know that right now, for me, there's nothing. And nothing to the point where for the first time in 20 years, I'm really scared about what's going to happen in the next couple of months. But that's always been the fact of this industry. So I don't know. Yeah, there's nothing else. There's no auditions. There's no opportunities. However, I have a great voiceover agent, and I've been auditioning for cartoons and video games. That's a much harder industry to get into, but I have a lot of opportunities there. I have a really good friend who's a very good artist who is illustrating a children's book I wrote. So maybe I'll move into the world of writing. I don't know. I just know that I've talked to my husband about this. I just know that right now is not the time that I should try to figure it out.
Yeah.
Because sure, there's no auditions right now. There's no pilot season right now. Nobody can fucking shoot right now. So now is not the time for me to make the call to toss everything and go get a job doing filing someplace. I might do that, but I'm not quite ready. I'm going to give it till May.
Yeah.
Then we'll see what happens.
Yeah, like you said, the way the land lies now, I think worldwide, other than certain places that are lucky, like New Zealand, who are out of it now. The way the land lies is everyone's kind of just waiting to see what happens.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I want something to manifest that would make me feel safe.
Yeah.
Right. And the fact is, I never know what tomorrow's going to bring. Tomorrow could bring a bus that jumps on the curb and hits me. Like the concept of knowing what's next is an illusion anyway that makes me feel like I have control over shit that I can't control.
Yeah.
So do I hope I work again? I really do. I really love working. Do I hope I'll be okay if I don't? I really do. I really like being okay. But I'll I can't control either of those outcomes.
I have to say, I love the positive attitude towards it as well. The still smile and you're showing me the way I need to be when it comes to things that I can't control, and it's incredible.
It's a hard fought. It doesn't come to me naturally, and it's an actual program that takes a lot of work. And I'm not always like that. Like, this is the other thing. I was talking to a friend of mine yesterday who's very ill, and she said, I know a positive attitude will help me recover, but lying about my current emotional relationship isn't being positive. It's being in denial. So I really advocate when I am scared, just going, oh, fuck, yeah, this is scary. You know, I don't smile all the time. I don't feel optimistic all the time. Instead, I give myself permission to just go, yeah, sometimes scary shit is scary. Sometimes hard shit is hard. And when I'm willing to do that, that's how I get to the next step of, whew, okay, all right, dust yourself off and get going again.
And that I think a lot of people need to learn that. Me myself had to learn that over the years, that it's okay to let yourself feel these negative emotions as long as you're willing to get back up on the other side.
Yeah. Well, and nothing painful has ever come to me without a gift in its hands, right? And I started thinking, instead of negative, I started thinking of it as uncomfortable. Oh, I'm just not comfortable. It's not bad. It's not wrong. It doesn't make me stupid or weak or like bad. It just means I'm uncomfortable right now. Okay.
Yeah, no, I 100% agree. I love your. There we go.
Well, especially when you have a 2-year-old, you know what it is to be uncomfortable.
Featured on many of these episodes.
What's she doing? Is she gonna come say hi?
Harper, do you want to say hi? Do you want to say hi?
No. Harper! No? Okay. I don't blame you. I wouldn't want to say hi to me either.
We're in the no phase.
Oh, yeah. That's fun.
And the why.
Yes. I'm trying to remember if my daughter ever went through that. Like she like kind of created her own reasons why. And I think she's 13 now. I think the no phase is just not going to turn out to be a phase. I think it's just her.
That's teenagers for you, though. You know, you did the teenage years all ahead of you now.
Oh man. Oh God. Oh. And yet she's so fucking funny and irreverent and honest. Like, she just point blank calls me on my shit. I cannot be anything other than completely honest with this kid as my daughter, because I can't fake it. She's like, that thing right there, that doesn't fly. It's hypocrisy, Mom.
She's still gonna start using her mom voice on you.
Totally.
Look, I will not keep you too much longer.
Okay.
Look, I was trying to get her to come say hi, but she's her own little person and she makes her own decisions, and I'm just along for the ride.
Well done, you. That's gonna get you far, Daddy. That will get you far.
She's the boss at the end of the day. I just provide food.
Yeah, we just I can't stop her from falling. I'm just the mattress, so she doesn't break all her bones.
Exactly. They have to learn on their own as much as it kills me.
Yes. Yeah. All the time.
My mother was so overbearing growing up until I have her, and everything I'm like, no, she can't be doing that.
Yeah, well, because we don't want them to hurt.
Yeah, I get like Final Destination moments. Every time she's doing something, I have a flash of what could happen.
Totally. And they don't care. They don't understand. They don't believe you.
She'll run headfirst into the wall, fall down, cry, get up, and run headfirst into the wall again.
Excellent. Yeah.
And I can't do that, and I was the same as a kid, so I can't judge.
Oh yeah, no, they are instant karma.
Yeah,
they are yeah.
There you go. You come say hi.
No.
She's just running into the room, looking at me, screaming and running out.
I love her. Oh, well, I'm going to go down and see if math needs any assistance from Mommy, because that was what got grabbed. It looked like there were some math problems, so we're going to go discuss multiplication.
Look, thank you so much again, in our native tongue, Gurav Mila Mahagut, for coming on the show. I
love it so much. Anytime, like, if you're bored, text me. I'm not going to close our DMs. So if you're like, hey, there's a thing, and I want to know what Kim has to say about it, let me know.
You might regret saying that.
I don't. I always, you know what? Here's the thing. I give myself permission to say no.
Yeah.
So that means that I give myself permission to ask other people to ask anything, because you will never have to worry that I'm going to be like, fuck, I don't want to, but I got to say yes. I'm too old to do that shit. That makes me resent people that I like.
Yeah.
So I will always say no when I mean no, and I will always say yes if I mean yes.
And that's the best way to be. Before I go, I'll ask you one question. I'll put you on the spot here. I have a feeling
Yes.
I know you're probably not going to be able to answer. Zack and Cody or Sam and Dean?
For what?
Just as a preference, favorites.
Oh, fuck. Who are you asking? Are you asking Kim, Carrie, or Jody? Or the job? Like, that's the other thing, is that it's really hard to separate the job from the answer. I mean, I'm a mom. Zack and Cody.
Zack and Cody.
But as a person, and with everything it brought with it, Sam and Dean.
Sam and Dean. That's a very political answer. Just.
Well, I mean, the answer it's very honest. It wasn't like honestly, if I had a strong preference, I would have been like, oh, this shit over here, absolutely.
Yeah, that's brilliant. That's brilliant.
But no, that's like my relationship with my babies, but also the relationship with the show.
Yeah.
So that's it.
It's brilliant to hear that both shows affected you so much. That was a difficult question to answer. That's always a positive thing. Look, I'll let you go sort out the math, and then listen again. I'll say it one more time. Gurv Mila Mahagut for coming on the show, and isn't everyone horse riding teacher in LA? Kim Rhodes. I don't think she was a sheriff. You didn't need to say more.
Yeah, you can jump over stuff. Well, thank you. This was wonderful. It was absolutely my delight. Thank you so much for letting me be here.
Thank you for coming on the show. It was an absolute honor. One of my all-time favorites.
My pleasure.
Fingers crossed lockdown lifts soon and we can all get to a happier place.
Yes, please. And I'll be in touch.
Yeah, 100%. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Take care and sleep well. Good night.
You have a good morning.
Bye-bye.
Bye.